there's no reason that you should wait for a distant future to have this dream, this lifestyle that you would imagine, but you've got to be very intentional. I was out here enjoying this wonderful global warming. Hello everyone. I'm out here enjoying another beautiful Texas winter day in January, and we're going to start moving this channel in a slightly different direction. We've covered AirCrete, and this is probably going to be one of the last videos to even really discuss AirCrete. I will continue to add updates, but from here forward this channel is going to be focusing on lifestyle design and additional aspects of building a better life for yourself. Let's talk about lifestyle design. Using AirCrete and the basic knowledge that comes from either the course that you can click below in the description, you can buy a video course which will teach you everything you need to know quickly. It'll show you your tools, how to build your own aerator, or you can attend one of our workshops on your schedule any day of the year here in the United States. These are available for you to learn. But having learned those skills, from there you can take this forward and build your lifestyle. So it's my goal for this course or this video to show you a basic step-by-step process, just one of many possible ways that you can design your life the way you want it on your terms. And we're going to approach this from the aspect of someone who's a minimum wage earner, or someone who's willing to do a little better than minimum wage and work a little bit. Someone who's willing to live with a friend, live with family, put up some tarps over some pallets and live with the homeless people if necessary. But somebody who's ready to get it done. Someone who's ready to choose their life, to no longer run the program. This is for you. We're going to take the idea from this environment where we're working and making minimum wage. How can you go from making minimum wage to having the lifestyle that you desire, to no longer paying $500, $1,000, $2,500 a month for rent or mortgage and applying that for traveling the world, or just simply building the lifestyle? So I hope you enjoy this. We're going to quickly step through design processes that one might go through, starting with absolutely nothing whatsoever and building themselves up to a lifestyle of luxury, but a lifestyle that is obtainable for them. The essence behind lifestyle design is the idea of, again, essence. If you really distill that life down to what it is that truly fulfills you, and then getting very clear on what that is, and then discarding absolutely everything that doesn't directly benefit you, or doesn't benefit you in a truly meaningful way. Yes, you could buy a Lamborghini and impress other people, but ultimately that doesn't truly fulfill you. Those are things, those are ideas, those are thoughts that ultimately lead to dissatisfaction with life and entraps you into a losing scenario, because ultimately you'll never please or impress everybody like you think. So we want to distill that down, and if truly the Lamborghini is your essence, then I assure you there's a way to have that in a way that doesn't take from the energy of your life, because you want every single aspect of your life to benefit you. You want all of your energy, all of your mind, all of your actions, and everything that you do to benefit the lifestyle that truly benefits you in here, that builds your life up, that makes your life more meaningful, truly more meaningful for you and you alone. And sometimes that requires that we tear down our belief structure, and with an understanding of what exactly gives us great joy, great happiness, and great fulfillment of the heart, then we can build up the steps necessary to create the lifestyle that will give us utter fulfillment, a life of utter joy. You'll often find that it's from this place of contentment and peace that everything that you thought you knew takes on a new meaning, and you realize that it's actually very, very, very obtainable for you to have that lifestyle right now in this moment. Not in the future, not when you're 55, or not when you're retired and sick and with cancer and disabled. No, there's no reason that you should wait for a distant future to have this dream, this lifestyle that you would imagine, but you've got to be very intentional, and it has to come from a place of clarity. So I'm going to give you a simple demonstration of what someone making minimum wage might choose in their life. And then it'll be up to you to either come and attend a course on lifestyle design or attend a seminar or a workshop that we're going to be offering in the very near future that deals with getting your lifestyle and your clarity all in line. Every part of your life in alignment to allow the manifestation to flow into your life to have exactly the lifestyle you want. But certainly you can use this video to get an idea of what it might take to just help open your mind, to help you realize the possibilities that are available to you. That everything that you know needs to be questioned, that everything that you think you understand, that you think you know, needs to be filtered consciously through a very clear intention. And from this, you will build a beautiful, amazing lifestyle, one that fulfills you to the core. So I'm going to be making some assumptions here, but the idea is to just give you a feel for this. And one of the best places to start is with mind mapping. And one of my favorite programs is a program called Simple Mind. They have a free version and they have a paid version, as well as a trial version. So it's also available for your phone, and you can synchronize your files between your phone and your PC or your Mac. The Simple Mind program is just a great way to do brainstorming. My perfect life. So what would your perfect life look like? You know, in the conventional sense, what everyone's going to tell you is something like get a degree, and after you get a degree, you get a job. Of course, when you go to school, get a big debt, get a job, work hard, pay your loan note, and we'll use this to add a cross link because this is related to paying your debt as well. Then if you work hard, you get to retire after 55 years old. And then after you retire, do what you want and love. And of course, somewhere in this process of working hard, you're going to buy a car, buy a house, or more specifically, get a massive mortgage you have to pay. And then maybe someday you'll get to do what you want and love. So the question then might be, is this my perfect life? Does this model serve me? Do I want to wait till after I'm 55 to do what I love? I mean, sure, as you're working hard and you get a job, your job will give you 7 days vacation. So 7 days out of a year, you might get to kind of do something that you want to do every 7 days out of the year. Does this life truly suit you? You know, and not only that, there's so many people that even after they retire, They refinance their home. They get medical bills. And all of these wind up going beyond retirement. And then after that, you're going to have to small job just to kind of keep the loans going, keep things functioning as a function of the choices you've made in life. This is the typical model and often leads to people being sick or dead before they ever retire. So I'm going to assume here that just because you're on this channel even, that this conventional lifestyle isn't truly your perfect life. So you got to look and design, well, what do I really need in life? You know, that's really the place to start. What do you want in life? So we got to apply a process to this. And when you go in here, you could say, well, I want a Lamborghini. I want to live in a castle. I want to party with friends. I want to travel the world. I want comfort. So we start to drill down to these things and we ask the question, well, why do we want a Lamborghini? Well, it impresses others, makes them think well of me. Maybe it feels good when you accelerate. Maybe you think you're going to get more relationships with it because you're going to impress someone. And this is where you really got to examine hard and get to the core of what is it that you need. Honestly, what does impressing others actually do for you? Generally, it doesn't actually do anything for you. And so these people, they may or may not be your friends, and no matter what, ultimately it doesn't add to the value of friendships or relationships. And impressing others puts a great deal of work. I mean, look at the price tag of something like a Lamborghini. So maybe you don't need to impress others. It feels good when you accelerate, but is it possible to get another car that accelerates well and you get the same feeling exhilaration? I mean, after all, you're probably living where you can't drive more than 30 miles an hour without a ticket or going to jail anyway. So there's another way to get this feels good. And if you really believe that material possessions are going to get you the relationship you want, then you could try that road. But most likely at some point you're going to have to grow up and realize that that just isn't very realistic, and that those kind of relationships are very shallow. And even your own expectations of, well, I drove here in a Lamborghini. Well, who even knows? And you go around telling people, oh, look at me, I've got this and I've got that. They're automatically going to be not impressed. So that really leaves us with no true benefits to having the Lamborghini. So probably that can go. And we can say, I want a good fast car because it feels good. So we've got that in there. I want to live in a castle. Well, you could think about being part of the wealthy 1% of the world that could actually afford to live in a castle. And think to yourself realistically, what is that going to take? It's going to take great skill. You're either going to have to start your own business and be very successful, or you're going to have to work hard and long moving up in a very influential company. Starting your own business, I believe, is always a good idea and should be done regardless. Working hard and moving up in a company, I mean, if you really look at what that takes to move up in Wall Street, or to work in the world of business finance, and you have to, of course, work for a company that even gives you the opportunity to move up to that kind of money, because you're talking about a huge, substantial amount of your life spent in developing this skill set. And again, this begins to put you into this same type of category. This is a more conventional theme. And so, you know, this model for getting this may not be realistic. So what is it that a castle truly gives you? I mean, let's be honest. Being in the top 1 or 2% of the world in wealth and success, that takes a great deal of sacrifice. That takes a great deal of giving things up, and you have to decide how important this is to you. So what is it that you love about a castle? Let's drill down. What is it that a castle that you really like about it? You really like the way it looks. It makes you feel a certain way. You love luxury. Um, you know, maybe you like the high ceilings and open feeling. I mean, let's really drill down to what it is that you really like out of this. Maybe you love the big fireplace. So let me ask you, is there any reason that you couldn't have the essence of what a castle does for you? Is there any reason that you couldn't have this without being part of the 1%? You know, I would have to say no. There's another way to have the castle that gives you what you want. To have the things I want, and since we've already discussed this in the channel, what if you did it according to a scale of life? That you can have now, not someday, not 100 years from now. So what if we scale this accordingly to your income? And we want it to look like a castle. We want it to make us feel good, and we would define this making us feel good as giving us that feeling of luxury, the high ceilings, the big fireplace, the space for gatherings and parties. These are basically the qualities, and of course these qualities are what makes us feel good, so we're going to remove the feels good off the list. We want it to look like a castle. We want it to give us feelings of luxury. We want it to have high ceilings. We want it to have that open feel. We want a big fireplace. We want a space for our friends to gather to have parties. So that's good. So scaling this to the life, what kind of life am I going to scale this to? Well, I want to make the assumption that we're starting off with the average normal person. So what is this scale of life? You know, you could say it's minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. Now, I know that even in this area, we can realistically get $10 an hour. And we can realistically work, I mean, if we want to, we could realistically squeeze in 50 hours per week. That's not unrealistic. You can work at a grocery store, you can work at two grocery stores, and you can work 2 jobs. You can make $10 an hour. I mean, how much do you really want this? I'm going to assume that you're willing to do whatever it takes to have what you want, because otherwise you can resolve yourself to being satisfied when you never succeed that you were right all along. Your only consolation at the end of life is that I was right. I couldn't succeed. I failed at everything and I have nothing. If that's you, just turn this off now. Otherwise, we're going to assume that you're willing to do whatever it takes, at least for a reasonable period of time. What would be a reasonable period of time? Well, you know, let's say that you're like the average millennial or even people in my generation that are waking up. You're not interested in working a job forever. You don't want to burn up your youth and your energy producing for other people. You simply want to live and have the things you want. So let's say that 2 years would be a reasonable time frame. So that scale of life will be 2 years of work at $10 per hour. And of course, you'll have to adjust all these figures for your area where you live, and you're also going to have to consider where are you going to live. That's another aspect of this. Let's just tag it on to the end as an offshoot of this. Where will I live? A lot of people would say, I want to live in San Francisco. I want the lifestyle, I want the Starbucks, I want the gym, I want everything at my feet. I want to experience that lifestyle, that culture. So now my question is, in your normal course of life, how often are you going to enjoy this culture, and in what ways will you enjoy this culture? Maybe it's theater, maybe it's Starbucks, maybe it's the gym. You're going to have to break this down. And let's say that in a normal person's life, they're only going to get to enjoy this maybe one day a week. So living in the San Francisco culture in that area, what is the cost of that? I mean, let's be realistic. The cost of buying a piece of land and living in San Francisco is substantially expensive, and it's going to require a lot more of your time. It's going to require a lot more work just to establish the base. Let's go back up here. What are my needs? Let's break that out a little further. Let's say, what are my wants? And let's say that these things are my wants so that we can be more specific. And beyond what are my wants, what are my needs? What do I require to live? In here, you got things like you need a shelter, you need a place to live. And of course, that would be your castle. You need water, food beyond shelter. You need security. You need energy, sanitation. These are all very, very basic needs. And I would say that the ultimate need too is you do need some luxury in your life. I don't want to be too drawn out or too boring on this, but so one need is the shelter. So we'll continue out the shelter, and we want to scale these basic things that it gives us, and we want to scale it to our life. And part of that scaling is going to be, where will I put this castle? If you wanted to live in San Francisco because you wanted the culture and this is part of your luxury, and how many times realistically do you think you might go enjoy that? Once a week? So let me ask you this. Would it be reasonable to move as far as 45 minutes out of San Francisco, maybe an hour, maybe even 2 hours, and find a piece of property that you can actually afford within the scale of what you can make? What is truly realistic? Now, I'm going to use examples from my area. Where will I live? All right. So here's a site that takes us in, and you see we've got 2,222 square feet lake lots. These are fairly cheap. They're, I'm going to say, 20 minutes from downtown, 30 minutes at the most. So not so far away, but far enough out in the country that you can get a lot. And we're talking a starter place for life, because you can always sell and upgrade and move forward in this part of the world. Now, I find that these prices are actually quite similar to much of the United States. If you were to want to live in Northern California, then obviously it's probably going to cost more. Um, we'll go to East Texas Craigslist. I mean, they're very common. It's a very common place for just normal individuals to list land. It's often very cheap. And let's search with an ascending price. Now, obviously, these people aren't selling a piece of land for $80. And we're not interested in anything with a trailer house on it. Let's see, 1,700. Yep, here you go, $1,700 cash or best offer. It's not completely a trailer house lot. You see, you get some trees. This would be an area that can be considered a little more trailer parky, but as a starting place in life, it's not bad. And you're actually on a lake. You could go fishing. You could do whatever you want to. 1,700 bucks. That's really a pretty amazing price, even for here. It's about an hour out of Tyler, so if the culture, the coffee shops, the entertainment, the things that I wanted were in this city, and I was going to enjoy those for once a week, then an hour is not too far to drive. So this lot being really affordable, 2 hours from one of the biggest cities in the state, and the price is ridiculous, even though there's a yearly fee here for the amenities, but certainly something that you could live with. I mean, so clearly it's possible to find the land. Let's just say we split the difference somewhere, $4,000. We can find us a lot, something that's not got restrictions on it, something that you can build whatever you would like on it. $4,000, I think, is quite reasonable. What kind of castle are you going to build? Now, let's not go with the all or nothing attitude. You don't have to start with a giant castle. I mean, let's go back to the needs. You need a shelter, and you just need this basic shelter, this place to stay. Very, very simple, very basic. And it's not that you have to start with a finished castle. You just keep that in mind, and we'll start with the idea of building an initial structure. To get some ideas, we know that from tiny houses that they're often affordable, and it's a good starting point. So again, we're building to the scale of what you could afford on minimum wage. So we just do an image search, and we can find some inspiration pretty quickly on how you might have something that looks like a castle. I mean, even this, I mean, that looks quite nice, and it's not really very big. It's two stories with a roof deck. But as we go back to what it is that we truly enjoy, we like a big fireplace, we like high and open ceilings, we want it to give us a feeling of luxury, and we want to have a space for gatherings and parties. So
I've dug around and I've looked a little bit, and these are some ideas that kind of appeal to me. You know, you've got the fireplace, you've got the second floor, it's open, you've got these nice arches in here, you've got really nice lighting. The coloring of everything looks really good. You know, you might prefer a grand view and some statuettes and a garden out front. Um, and this particular little castle, I think, fits the bill. It's will be qualified in the tiny house space. It's got these sections. You see, you got like this section and this section and this and another section. So it lends itself to a modular design. So keeping in mind the idea that we're not just going to start and have, you know, everything perfectly immediately, but we will have a place to live. We will have the beginnings of our castle and on our own land within 2 years. You could build this module of the house, and in here you could have your bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom, which, you know, you could later then swap out the bedroom and then say add this on and build the bedroom on this side over here. And nothing has to be permanent. And then you could have a large kitchen space. And this particular design could be completely open, allowing you to have the large upper space. You could put in the arches. You could put in the fireplace. You could put in some kind of access. You can get up here and stand on top of your roof. And of course, I would say instead of using stone, I would build all of this out of insulating AirCrete, because it just makes a lot more sense financially. And AirCrete can be carved and shaped to look any way you desire. So even the fireplace protrusions I would make out of AirCrete. This is certainly something that's doable. You could easily have this look of a castle, and you could achieve a look like this inside. You know, this area up here, you could make it usable, or it could be entirely for decoration with just barely a catwalk, but, you know, have the arches and the large space and the big skylight. These are all things that are perfectly doable. And I've run the numbers, and I know that you could build with AirCrete for $38 a square foot when you're building a dome. But let's double that to $60 a square foot. This will give you the ability to create those arches and those fireplaces, and to give it that style you really want. So then at $60 a square foot, you know, how many square feet do you think this start would be? And obviously you can modify these figures. We're just going to make this simple and easier. Let's just assume that these are 3-foot windows, more or less. So you got 6 foot here, and you've got maybe 8 foot here, 8 foot here. I think that's being more than generous. It's 25 foot by, it's more or less a rectangular, 25 by 50. Your starter module with 25 by 50 square foot gives you 1,250 square feet. You know, that's pretty dang big. I would say it's even bigger than you need to start out with. So what if we start off with building this part of the house as the bedroom? And even this roofing, you know, you could enforce that and put AirCrete tile on top of this, or use some fancy sheet metal, or even wood shakes. So there's a lot of options here, but let's start with something small. We know that this door is 3 foot. We got maybe a foot here, 4, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. Let's call this 10 by, it doesn't go all the way. It's kind of hard to say. That'd be 3, 6, 9, 12. That's not bad. 9 by 12. Let's make it 10 by 12. 120 square feet times $60 a square foot finished. So, you know, $7,200. So the first module of your house would be a starter, $7,200. You know, and again, that's with appliances. That's finished. That's everything in it. And you know, honestly, because this is only single story, I really think that this should be brought back down um, to $38 a square foot. Because this little first section you could finish. So let's call it $4,600. $4,600 for your first starter. Obviously, this isn't the end of the world. Each year you'll add to this, and you'll find that it becomes quicker and faster as you go, as you begin to build. And you won't have rent, you won't have mortgage. So you got $4,600 in expense here. Let's make this easy. Let's create a new spreadsheet. All right, so we got our income amount that we're going to make. And this is going to be a 2-year program. And $10 an hour, even though $7.25 is the minimum wage, honestly, you can push buggies around here for $10 an hour. Anybody wanting to work in any capacity can make $10 an hour. And honestly, you could get a job as a construction helper and make $15, $17 an hour, no problem whatsoever, no skills, just starting out. As long as you're willing to show up, do whatever it takes, and never let yourself be idle. Always find something to do while you're on the job. I promise you'll find all the hours you want. But let's just say that you can swing a couple of jobs at grocery marts and around town for 48 hours a week. And so we're going to be able to bring in $480 a week. Now, honestly, let's just say we're going to lose a percentage of that to taxes. Let's say that you had $50 a week deducted out of that, depending on how you set up your paperwork whenever you get hired, of course. So you're living with a friend, you're living under a bridge, doing whatever it takes. Living with parents, living in grandma's basement, it doesn't matter. It's only 2 years and you're going to make this happen. So your income is $432 per week. $432 per week. You know, you can prepare food for yourself, both for lunch on the job, and let's just say you manage to get 2 decent meals a day, and you can make that happen for $10 or less per day. And I know you can. You just have to be very selective for your food. So you got food cost, $10 a day, 7 days a week, $70. And you know, around here, honestly, you're probably driving 20 miles a day, and you're either going to be getting a ride, or perhaps you live in town, you can take a bus, but there will be some travel expenses. And you should be able to get 20 miles a gallon in a cheap car. And again, if you're starting out, you may have to really beg rides for a little while, take the public transportation, save up, make your first car, you know, and it doesn't, you just need that starting place. And that's what this first 2-year period is going to be about, is a starter place. I don't know, $3 a gallon for gas, even though it's currently under 2 here, but let's just say $3 a gallon for gas, and you're going to spend a gallon a day, you know, and you're going to work 6 days a week. So you're going to have an expense of $18 in gas, and that's going to be your basic expenses, more or less. And you know, let's just really skimp by on this food part. If that seems a little skimpy, man, go to a food bank. Go pick up some free food at one of the local churches or the local food bank to get all the extra food in. I mean, honestly, I see no reason you couldn't really skimp down on this and cut it to $50 a week and still have plenty to eat, taking your lunch to work, and that leaves you with $362 a week. So then your yearly income, $52 weeks, is $18,000. And this is the working money you have. And you got 37 $1,648. So now let's create a column, and this is what it's going to cost you to begin your new life. We've got our land or our lot, $4,000, $4,600 for your starter home. Let's put a column in here for the balance. Let's say you've got to buy a used car. You can find a pretty decent used car, you know, kind of like a high mileage, small Toyota 4-door sedan, $3,200 all day long. $50. Now, let's just assume you're going to take the outlaw approach, you know, for your sewer system and put in a composting system, because you need sanitation. That's one of the needs that you have. So you've got a composting system. Let's say you rent a backhoe for $300, or an excavator for $300. You're going to build your own small concrete tank. That's going to cost you about $50 in materials. You're going to spend about $120 on a toilet. You're going to then need a 1 yard or 1 ton, $50 load of wood chips. You're going to probably need to pay someone for delivery of the wood chips, and you're going to need some framing to build a constructed wetland. So you're going to need $47 in gravel. You're going to need a $90 pond liner. Then you're going to need some boards. Let's say another $75 in boards to frame all of this. And you can put together your basic septic system around $882. And this would be a composting worm toilet system, one that you flush where you never have to manage the mess, the filth. Very sanitary, very friendly. Everybody's used to using it. Your mulch and constructed wetland system will process out all of the water. There won't be any discharge. And of course, you'll be using a low flush toilet. And you're going to need light fixtures. Well, actually, no, we don't. Light fixtures and everything was already included in the cost of the home. That was the cost of everything. So actually, we get to delete the misspelled wiring there. And this puts you in your house living, or with a place to live on your own place in the first 2 years with $19,000 to spare. Now, let's go back and look at what else it takes to achieve this. You know, our transportation was taken care of. Our energy is being provided by a bill. Of course, you know, you're going to have a monthly bill, but because it's a small house, it's not going to be a whole lot. So let's just assume that we're going to use a space heater temporarily. You know, you can get one of those at Walmart for 45 bucks easily. And we're going to need a small air conditioner. If you get those off-season, Home Depot, all day long, you can order one online and have it shipped in and go pick it up at your local store, 97 bucks. What else might we need in there? We're going to need a bed. You know, so what kind of bed would we want? Let's say that, you know, I want to sleep really comfortably. You know, I want something really nice. Purple queen mattress. I don't know, let's do the purple mattress. Okay, so you're talking $1,000 for a purple queen mattress. So again, you begin to analyze this stuff and you say, well, what are my options? What if I don't want any plastic or chemicals? Is there such a thing as a do-it-yourself mattress even? You know, that's the whole idea. Get used to kicking ideas around and finding out what's possible. You know, you start looking around and just finding out, you know, what's really out there, what's truly possible. You know, you got a lot of companies that supposedly have a green mattress, but yet it's still made out of foam, still cost you $1,000. Twist mattress, I think I've heard of something like that. The more you search, you find out that it's possible. And I happen to know from spending some time, you can build mattresses like this. And what these are buckwheat mattresses. And the people I've talked to say that they're one of the most comfortable mattresses they have ever slept on in their entire life, even more comfortable than their $2,500 bed. Here we go. That looks like it might be what I'm looking for. Buckwheat mattress. That one's a little more simple design, $174. This other style is more comfortable than that tubular style from what I understand. Well, put a buckwheat bed in there. Let's say you go buy the wood and you frame in a base for this bed, you know, a water tap. Now, obviously you could build a water collection system. Wells are very expensive, but let's just assume that, like in this area, you have to pay the $800 to get a tap and tied into the community water. So that puts you at $14,297 of cost. That's not so bad, honestly. And if you made $16,000 in a year, you could conceivably do this in just a single year. And even if all you could bring home was the $7.25 an hour, you could still do this in a year with money to spare. I mean, we're talking about getting your basic starter car, your land, and your home. So you see, you can very quickly put yourself in a very comfortable situation where you can have the things you want. You can create the house, and the next year you're not going to have to build a car. So, excuse me, you're not going to have to buy a car, and you're going to need to build a bigger room for this castle. So after you've started with this, you've got a place to live, you're rent free, no one can tell you to leave, no one can evict you for not paying your mortgage or not paying your rent. And yes, it's a tiny home, maybe even a micro home to start with, but then you move into building this section the next year. Maybe make this your big, gorgeous kitchen, and you know, this could remain your bedroom for a period of time. And then the third year, maybe you build this large 2-story section and finish this section out. And then the fourth year, you add this on and make this your bedroom and turn this into something else. You very quickly get yourself into something that looks beautiful, something that's gorgeous, something that meets your requirements. Now, if you wanted something like this, you could totally fake this. You could have this printed at a shop in a vinyl sticker. These could be AirCrete, and you could paint on a golden metallic paint. There's a way to achieve the look that you desire and to build it into something that fits within your price range. And that allows you to have the home you need, that allows you to really get started, that allows you to create the lifestyle that you want. It allows you to move into a place of well-being, a place that frees you up to live a lifestyle that puts you in the position to then travel for 3 or 6 months out of the year, literally travel around the world. Or alternatively, you might choose to have more gatherings and parties at this get-together. You might choose to use this money to continue to build a better life for yourself. You know, You could invest this money. You could learn the thinking habits of the rich and save money. You could pretty quickly, I mean, think about the living expense that you have. After this castle is built, you'll be able to afford organic food. You would even be able to afford to have someone come in and cook the food for you. Come in, say for 1 or 2 days out of the month and prepare your food for the entire month and put it up in your freezer. Um, you just have to develop this process of thinking that allows you to move to a different lifestyle, something completely different than you have ever known. You've got your house, and talk about security. I mean, how secure are you with the feeling when you've built your own home, you've learned your own skill, you've overcome all your own obstacles, and no matter what, you can always start over and build you a new home anywhere of any size. You've got your energy provided from the grid. You may choose to go off grid after that. Your sanitation's been provided. Your luxurious living styles have been provided. I mean, how much more luxurious is it? Instead of paying $800 or $1,000 a month rent, what would you do with $800 or $1,000 in your pocket? Maybe you would choose to go out and have a 7-course meal that costs you $250 or even $500 for just you and a date. There's no reason you couldn't do that. You could fly first class somewhere, and again, you could travel out of the country. You could save up, and you could buy that fast car that is in your wants list. Now you're having friends with you're having your friends over. You're having parties. You're traveling the world. You're living in absolute comfort. So now having your needs met, what more wants do you have? You may grow from that, or you may decide that this life is meeting all your needs, or that you discover that there's something so much more amazing that you want to do, and so you'll simply add that in here. Start investing more money in yourself, taking courses and seminars, adding to your skills, discovering more possibilities of what you can do, going to retreats for various reasons, whether they be for spiritual development or skilled development. Who knows? Obviously, you're going to want a perfect source of income. And now that you've got everything built and accounted for, you're going to be free to develop your own business, develop an online income, and completely lose the job altogether. The job will be gone in as soon as the first year, maybe even the second year. So let me ask you this: is it worth toughing out 1 or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years even, to begin to create for yourself that lifestyle that puts you inside of a beautiful home in, I'm going to say you could do this in 3 years. While your friends would just be getting out of college, in 4 years, you're living in a mini castle. You're having parties. You've got the deck full of barbecue and chairs, and you've got it landscaped. If you're wanting to do the off-grid life thing, honestly, this is not unattainable for someone on minimum wage in 2 years. It's just not. It's something so easy, so simple to do. I want you to really grasp the possibility here. This is fine living on your own terms outside of the conventional paradigm that your parents and everybody have always taught you, that you've got to get a job, you've got to work hard, you've got to sacrifice everything you want so that someday you can retire after 55 and then do what you want to do. No, I'm telling you that in as little as a year on minimum wage, let's say 2 years on minimum wage, you could build a basic house and spend 3 to 6 months of the following year in somewhere like Thailand or South America, somewhere where the cost is really cheap. You want to start vacationing around the world. Well, you buy your plane ticket in advance. Instead of spending the $1,400 for the plane ticket, you get that plane ticket nearly a year in advance or 3 months, wherever the price break happens. You can fly to Brazil. I found tickets for $400. So what are your options? Expand your mind, reach out and find out what's possible, because once you understand your possibilities, you realize that everything's a possibility. I know I happen to have picked up a webinar somewhere, and they talked about travel. And it's possible for you to go in off seasons or summertime. I know that you can stay in the dorms in Hawaii, on the beach in Hawaii, for $22 a night, like this one here. These dorm rooms are $22 a night. So it's possible to extend your vacation stays out of the country by simply being diligent to do your research and get your cheap travel. If you really want an adventure, you can book a cabin in a cargo ship and travel across the ocean for $200 or $300 and have an adventure on top of that. You can camp. You can just whatever it is that fulfills your core needs. What is the essence of your core desire? You see, we've gone from wanting the Lamborghini and getting a job and having an education and getting prestige to living free and traveling the world. And after that second, third, or fourth year, save up the money and then walk in and pay cash for a slightly used sports car, something that can give you the exhilaration but doesn't cost as much as a Lamborghini. And maybe you want to experience the real exhilaration. Take a trip to Germany, rent a car, get really good insurance, and go on the Autobahn. In fact, rent the Lamborghini. There's no reason you can't have the experience, because life, if nothing else, should be a great experience for you to discover what it is that really makes you happy. What is it that really truly fulfills you? And not only that, if you're living in your own home after 2 years, you've got your shelter, your food, your water, and there's other possibilities. You could even decrease this by planting a garden around your little lot that produces all the food you need, perennial. Plant trees and meet the basic requirements of your food at no cost. What could your life look like? What's the possibility? What are the odds of meeting an amazing mate or friend because you're out traveling the world and meeting other people who are freedom-minded, people who live outside the box? How amazing is it to have friends that are doing amazing things and not being needy or borrowing money or borrowing your car? Your possibilities become truly limitless whenever you do this. And of course, only you can define for yourself what your perfect life is, what it looks like. But come on, I've showed you how to live in a castle. You don't have to go to the job. You don't have to get up unless you want to get up. This gives you the time to build a YouTube channel and develop a following of people. I mean, if you had a YouTube channel and you found just 1,000 true fans and you sold them each a new t-shirt or something each quarter of the year as you change your themes, you can make $60,000 a year from your underwear in your castle. How's that? You can become an influencer and start taking paid advertising. The possibilities are there, and it's up to you to discover the possibilities, to discover what is the core essence of what you truly desire and want. And probably you'll find that what you really want, what really fulfills you, what really lights a fire in your heart is something that you may not even be aware of yet. So if you do this model, you'll find the ability to live the life you want to so quickly.
Okay, so I hope you found this useful. I hope that this will inspire you to think, to be intentional, to consider everything in your life, to look at everything that you think you know, to then build a filter system, a new set of beliefs for your life of what you truly want, what it truly takes to fill you up to overflowing, because it's from that place of overflowing abundance and joy that you'll be able to go out into the world and bless me, to bless all of us out there with your person, with your value and your uniqueness and your vision for the world. And so I hope that this has been a help to you, an inspiration. Look forward to more material along these lines, more thoughts in the future as we continue the process of building out an entire system of lifestyle design here at the Tiny Giant Lifestyle. So, namaste. The spirit in me recognizes and blesses the spirit in you. You have a beautiful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening.